There is a photograph of Margaret from 1962. She is 34 years old, 4 children, a kitchen the size of a modern bathroom. She is standing at the stove in a cotton dress with a 26-inch waist. Nobody in Margaret's house owned a bathroom scale. Nobody counted a calorie, tracked a macro, or had a gym membership. Nobody used the word diet except to mean what you eat. And Margaret wore that dress until 1987. Same waist, same woman. What Margaret knew in 1962, and what nobody told you, is what this video is about. She never wrote any of it down, neither did anyone else in her neighborhood, because everyone ate this way. There was no book, no plan, no system. There were just 10 habits so ordinary they didn't have names. Then something changed. Not the women, not their bodies. What changed is what I want to show you. Before number 10, subscribe. This is exactly the kind of video this channel exists to make. Hit the button and let's go. Number 10, they never snacked. Not once. Margaret's kitchen had a rule that required no enforcement. You ate at meal times. Between meals, the kitchen was not a place you went. Hunger between meals wasn't a problem to be managed with a handful of biscuits. It was just evidence that dinner would taste good. In 1960, the snack food industry in Britain and America was essentially non-existent. Crisps existed. That was roughly it. There was no category, no shelf, no marketing budget dedicated to the idea that humans need to eat every 2 hours. Today, that category is worth $108 billion globally. It didn't find a biological need. It manufactured one and then sold the product to fill it. Margaret never had the product. She never had the problem either. Number 9. The real breakfast. Wednesday morning, 1961. The alarm at 5:30. 2 eggs cracked into butter, toast from the bakery down the road, tea with whole milk. The kitchen smelled like warm bread and something frying. Nobody called it a morning ritual. It was just how the day started. It held until noon, without a protein shake in sight. The on-the-go breakfast market is now worth over $35 billion. The product it replaced cost pennies in 1961. Research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition confirmed that whole food protein from eggs produces a significantly greater satiety hormone response than processed breakfast alternatives. Margaret's appetite told her the same thing every day at noon. She didn't need the study. Number 8. The plates were smaller. Margaret's dinner plates measured 9 inches across. You can still find them, Meakin, Midwinter, Johnson Brothers, in charity shops and antique markets, faded florals and geometric patterns, every one of them smaller than what sits on a modern British table. The standard dinner plate today is 12 inches. 3 extra inches of diameter means roughly 50% more surface area. A full plate in 1961 held a meaningfully smaller amount of food. Behavioral nutrition researchers have consistently documented what they call the portion size effect. People consume more when more is served, independent of actual hunger. The plate is the cue the brain reads before the stomach does. Nobody in Margaret's kitchen felt deprived. The plate was full. The plate told the right story. Nobody changed the plate size because appetites changed. They changed it because larger plates sell more food. Number 7. They ate at the same 3 times every day. The noon whistle, the 6 o'clock news, the 5:30 breakfast. Between those 3 fixed points, nothing. Not because of willpower, because eating between meals hadn't been normalized yet. There was no culture of it, no infrastructure for it, no product waiting on the counter to make it easy. A 2019 paper in Cell Metabolism found that consistent meal timing reduced total caloric intake and improved metabolic function without any restriction on what was eaten. Margaret's body had that predictability for 40 years. She would have found the concept of intuitive eating genuinely confusing. She was just hungry at noon and 6, the same as yesterday. Slim Fast launched in 1977. The meal replacement industry is now worth $16 billion. Margaret's schedule cost nothing. The product that replaced it has a monthly delivery option. Number 6. This is where the hidden sugar comes in. It is in your pasta sauce, it is in your bread, your peanut butter, your salad dressing, your low-fat yogurt, your protein bar. Nobody agreed to put it there. It arrived quietly in the late 1970s, when fat was removed from processed food and something had to fill the flavor gap. In 1960, adults consumed roughly 23 pounds of added sugar per year. Today, that figure is closer to 57 pounds. The gap is not explained by dessert. It's explained by products where sugar has no business being. Listed 8th or 9th on the ingredient panel so the eye slides past it. Margaret's pasta sauce was tomatoes, garlic, olive oil, oregano. 4 ingredients. The leading jarred brand today lists 22, including sugar. She didn't put sugar in her sauce. She didn't know anyone who did, because nobody had invented that yet. Number 5. Water and milk. That was the table. The milkman came on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Glass bottles, paper caps, your name on the order, milk for the children at dinner, water for the adults, tea after. Lemonade existed. It appeared at birthday parties. It was not a Tuesday drink. The global soft drink and sweetened beverage industry is worth over $300 billion. Every pound of that replaced something that either cost nothing or came to the door in a glass bottle. Water cannot be trademarked. Whole milk cannot support a $300 billion industry. Something else had to be invented. It was. And then it was put in school canteens, office vending machines, and checkout queues, and called a normal part of eating. Number 4. Black tea. 2 calories. The tea break in 1962 lasted 15 minutes and involved a kettle and a ceramic mug. Tea was tea, milk, no sugar, 2 calories per cup. Costa opened in Britain in 1971. By the late 1990s, the coffee drink had been invented, beverages with the word coffee or tea on the label containing 300 to 500 calories. A large chai latte contains more calories than a complete 1962 lunch. The global coffee shop market is valued at over $165 billion. Built entirely on the gap between what tea is and what it became once the industry realized 2 calories couldn't generate that kind of margin. They didn't sell you tea. They sold you a sugar delivery system with tea in the name. Margaret's tea break was 15 minutes and 2 calories. She would not have recognized what they eventually called it. Number 3. They moved through the whole day. In 1962, the word exercise referred to something athletes did. For everyone else, it had no category. Margaret's morning meant making beds, carrying laundry to the line, walking to the butcher, then the baker, then the greengrocer, with everything in her arms on the way back. Dinner meant 2 hours on her feet. None of it was scheduled. None of it counted. Research published in Science documented that NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, accounts for up to 2,000 calories of daily variance between individuals. Margaret was burning those calories before anyone invented the gym membership she would have needed to replace them. She didn't have a step counter. She had a neighborhood and places to be. The British fitness industry is now worth over £5 billion. It sells at a monthly fee the movement Margaret got for free, carrying groceries home from the butcher. Number 2. They cooked everything from scratch. The pantry in 1962 held flour, butter, eggs, potatoes, onions, and whatever was in season. When you make food from scratch, there is no high-fructose corn syrup in the shepherd's pie because you didn't put it there. No modified starches in the soup because it came from yesterday's chicken carcass, not from a tin. A study in public health nutrition found that people who cooked at home most frequently consumed significantly fewer calories per meal, not from effort, but because home-cooked food is structurally less calorie-dense than its commercial equivalent. Bread in 1955 had 4 ingredients. A leading supermarket loaf today lists over 20. Margaret ate the bread and the butter. The dress still fit in 1987. Number 1. She ate real fat. This is the one the food industry most needs you not to know. In 1962, Margaret cooked with butter, lard in the pastry, whole milk in everything. She did this every day of her adult life. In 1977, guidelines recommending reduced fat intake arrived. The food industry's response was not to improve food. It was to replace fat with sugar, because fat carries flavor and something had to fill the gap. The low-fat product category was born. Fat-free biscuits, skimmed milk, margarine instead of butter. Within 15 years of those guidelines, obesity rates in Britain and America began climbing a line that has not stopped since. The women who stayed slim in 1962 were eating saturated fat at every meal. The generation that replaced it with processed substitutes did not get thinner. They got the opposite. And the industry that sold them the substitutes is now worth $250 billion a year doing it. Margaret kept the butter. She never read the guidelines. When I started looking into this, I assumed the answer was self-discipline, that women in 1962 simply had more of it. That is not what the evidence shows. What it shows is a food environment that had not yet been engineered to extract money from appetite. The hunger in 2025 is, in significant part, a product that was manufactured and then sold back to the people it was manufactured for. The discipline gap is real, but the reason it exists is that we are fighting a system designed to make discipline fail, and then selling us the subscription to almost manage it. These habits weren't heroic. They weren't a plan. They were just Tuesday. Margaret passed away in 2003. Her daughter cleared the house that autumn. In the wardrobe upstairs, still on the hanger, still pressed, was the cotton dress from 1962. She held it up. She set it down. The 10 habits Margaret carried her entire adult life cost less combined in 1962 than a protein bar costs today. None required a label to read, a number to count, or a subscription to maintain. None required believing that the body was the problem. Pick one thing from this list, try it for 2 weeks, come back in the comments and tell me what it did. The next video is ready.